Hello, welcome Solex Nation. It is a new month, and with a new month comes a new enrollment incentive.
That's right. Welcome to November. In November, we're approaching the winter months here in the United States and the Northern Hemisphere. We know the Australians it's going into summertime.
Yeah.
But D3K2 is on our mind. That is the free giveaway when you enroll with a bundle and a subscription. Everybody who enrolls with that will get the D3K2. That is a powerful tool that is nanoed. That is our own special blend with both the Ks.
That's right.
That's enough said on that. There's a lot on that. We've talked about it a lot. It is a great product just to help somebody if they're on the fence, D3K2.
That's
on
right.
top of it.
Hey, and fun fact about our D3K2, we launched it last November at our Australian Day of Discovery.
That's right. That's right. And they're having an event.
So this year there's a Day of Discovery in Australia. Now it is not Solex sponsored this year like it was last year, but it is run by one of our top leaders, Rebecca McQuilty. It's November 22nd, 23rd?
22nd,
Friday
23rd.
and Saturday, November at Twin Waters Golf Club, and that's in Queensland. So if you want more information, you'd like to go to that Day of Discovery, it's coming right up.
Yeah.
Contact Beck McQuilty, or we will have a link to the tickets in our description of this video.
That is, those Australians have a great time.
Oh, I
They have
loved
an
it there.
absolute blast.
Yes.
We had so much fun with everybody. We hope you guys will have as much excitement and enthusiasm this year as you did last year. Please send us photos and videos. Somebody else is having a DoD right on there. This is a QLA hosted Day of Discovery, and he has done many of these already.
Every year. He's amazing.
Carlos Armio down in Ecuador, he is having an event that same weekend, and he brings some heavy hitters to this one as well. Some doctors. I think Deb Bruce is going to be down there. That is going to be a great event. So if you're in Ecuador, contact Carlos. I'm sure he's on this call right now. He could put a link to, if you want to come, how to get there. Anyways, reach out to him if you're near Ecuador. But that event is powerful.
That is so true. All right, speaking of events, what else do we want to discuss?
Well, we know we have a leadership event coming up.
We do. We have a leadership retreat, and that is June of next year.
Yeah,
it's coming up fast, though. I'm telling you, June sounds like forever away. We're not even at Thanksgiving yet.
I know.
I'm telling you, it is already filling up with RSVPs. So if you are a platinum or higher, please send me your RSVP for that. It's June 9th through the 12th. It's in Sundance, Utah. Now, I do have to say I've had some RSVPs from people who are not yet platinum, but they are saying, I will be platinum, so put me on the list.
I love that.
I love the enthusiasm. I am so excited that you are almost platinum. You can't RSVP, though, until you've hit platinum.
Yeah, we have the notice, but make sure you hit platinum. The thing is, here's the deal. When you're looking at a leadership event, although we did expand with anticipation based on our calculations, the rooms available for this leadership event, it will have a limited supply because we've already reserved that. And so once we hit that limit, we are at the limit. So if you are a platinum or you're trying to hit platinum, now's the time to do it. RSVP by contacting Shelby, let her know that you're coming. And then once we're done, once we're capped, right?
That's right. So if you already have hit platinum or pearl or higher, then you are free to RSVP for this event. If I don't respond to you, it means I did not get your RSVP. So please make sure that you get a response from me. If you haven't hit platinum yet, the second you do, send me a note.
Yep.
We'll get you on the list.
And did we say where it is?
Sundance.
Sundance. This is a great mountaintop.
Oh, man.
Right?
We spent a few hours there just kind of scoping it out to see if we wanted to hold our leadership retreat there. And we left saying, so want to book a weekend? Should we just hang out? It was so awesome.
If you don't know about it, this is where Robert Redford, he actually has owned this for many, many years.
Yeah.
He just recently sold it, but it was designed by him and it has a lot of history in the film industry.
Yes.
Independents coming out and trying to make their stake in the film world. But also it's just a wonderful ski resort anyways. People love it there. We love it there. We hope you'll love it there. So join us for the leadership event.
Something else to put on your schedule is our virtual Day of Discovery. That is also coming right up, and we are already deep in the mix of the planning for that.
Yes, yeah, we're getting all of our content. You know, we come out with a wealth of education at these events. We provide a bunch of different angles, not only at Solex, but at even just facets of well-being, right? We bring all that we can bring to the table. If you're brand new here, this is a virtual day of discovery. That means you get at least a week to go at your own pace, actually.
Yeah.
You buy a ticket to this, you have access to that for that week. You can watch whatever videos in whatever order. Now, we always encourage everybody to gather. We hope that you will gather. We know plenty of you are gathering, but if you haven't made a plan yet, now's the time to make a plan. Make it with somebody on this call. Say,
Yeah.
hey, I need a partner.
That's right. And it doesn't have to be a big group. Even if you get together with 1 or 2 people, it's always better to do these kinds of things in numbers and to help each other be inspired. So it's exciting day of discovery. The tickets are for sale right now in your back office, and that will open on March 6th. Now, something else that we keep getting asked.
It's the month of November, and toward the end of this month, there's this particular Friday that everybody's saving up their pennies for, and it's called Black Friday. We've been asked, is Solex going to do a Black Friday this year? The answer is...
Of course.
Yes, of course we are. We've been doing this for the last few years. It is a fun weekend of just sales, a great way to just kind of share in the benefits of what Solex can offer in a way that's accessible to everyone, I think.
And there may be something unexpected.
There always will be something unexpected. In fact, we have too much unexpected at this one and
That's
around
true.
this one. We hope that you'll be paying attention to us. At least give us a few seconds of your time as we get through the month of November and even as we get into December. We got a lot for you, a lot planned.
That's right. Okay, last week we asked you, what sets AO Youth apart? We talked about youth last week. We just want to know what you think about our AO Youth. So
Yeah, I love youth,
Yeah.
obviously. And I had a few words about it last week.
Carissa Supri. What sets this apart from other brands is not only the inclusive, high-quality ingredients and taste, but the fact that it is an amazing price. Totally agree with you. First of all, there was something on Facebook that someone said, what does it taste like? Everyone was saying Tang. That was the last
Oh,
one that
yeah, I
passed.
love that.
I know.
I love that.
I think some people just take 3 cupfuls and down it, so that's highly concentrated.
Yeah.
Other people mix it with water. I mix it with water and gut.
Yeah, I get out my tablespoon, I pour it in, and then I add gut to it. And that combination of flavors is fantastic because then I add too much. Probably I add blue,
You
I
got
add
a lot.
pulse, I add think drops. I do a lot in that, and then I go in and I go for a run.
See, I'm different. I add 3 capfuls. I like 3 capfuls with about 8 ounces of water and gut. We're all different. One thing I do like that Carissa said, though, is the price. We have had so many people say, I was taking 3 or 4 other products and spending $200 a month or $300 a month, and I get all of them in this one for $50.
You know, it's true. That was really important. It's always been important for Solex. I hope that somehow that gets across to everybody at some point while you're with Solex, is that you feel that we really are trying to put the best benefit out there, not only in products that we can develop, but even in the pricing that we offer it in. Youth has been on the table for nearly 2 years.
It's true.
We've looked at so many different versions and truly appalled at some of them, right? That not that they don't put out great products, but the price that some people charge is just, it's not fair. And it's not okay, in my opinion, in our opinion. So, I mean, we did the very best between you and me and so many others and Jake and so many others that were like, this needs to be as low as we can make it. And I think we've pushed the envelope as far as we could on this one.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I was shocked about is how much gouging there is out there that I didn't realize, and how expensive other companies are when they don't need to be. And so anyway, I am so proud of our AO Youth.
Yeah, and the truth, like when you look at the youth as a part of the AO core, part of the strategy with the AO core was on auto ship, right? If you can get it on auto ship, we wanted that price point to be something that you'd buy any one of those.
Yeah.
Like if you buy the full version of what is in youth, we wanted you to be able to get the entire AO core system from that. And I think we've done it. I think we did it the best we can.
Okay, sorry, Carissa, like you got us going, but I just have
Yeah,
to say
sorry.
one more thing. There was this one company that, and I'm not outing any companies, but I bought 2 products from them for about 3 months.
Yep.
And one of them was a collagen, and the other one was another product that went along with their collagen.
With collagen. Yep.
And I was spending $300 a month for these 2 products We are half that for our 4 products of AO Core. And I'm going to say ours is better. Theirs, I didn't even see any difference. AO Core, I do.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's off my soapbox.
Okay. Well, of course we love it, right? we hope you love it too. All right. This is Conscious Evolution.
Tracy Hill.
Tracy Hill. All right. My husband and I have been taking you since DOD, and we're both loving it. I mix mine with gut, like Shelby, and it's delish. I notice my forehead wrinkles are decreasing, and my gut is happy too.
Yes.
Yep. Love that.
Yes. Guess what?
A lot of us are doing it that same way.
You want to know what I did last weekend? I didn't bring my youth and my gut home. I left it at the office. And this last weekend, by Monday, I was like, I need to get it.
Yeah.
Like, I was so...
Yeah.
I was so missing it. I could feel the difference. I felt so bloated all weekend.
Yep.
All right. This is Carlos Yaramillo.
Oh, Carlos!
In my opinion, and I have 25 years of experience as a naturopath ND, I feel not only the cutting edge technology, but the selection of the ingredients makes these products a mile apart from the rest of the market. Hope we can have the gut line and youth soon in South America. Well, guess what? It's coming to you.
We're gonna figure out how to get it to you, Carlos, for sure.
Congratulations to all of our winners, and we will get that sent out to you tomorrow. All right, let's talk about our top enrollers. This is October 28th through November 3rd, and we have something that I have already seen before, I believe last week. In second place,
we have Joyce Oglesby. Congratulations, great job.
She was second place last week.
Yep.
She's just on it. She's on fire.
And I think we've seen this first place before.
And she was first place last week, Paige Wheeler.
Great job.
Paige had 10
people
come on.
Paige, you're on fire.
That is incredible. More sample pass. What is it called? Sample passes?
Yeah.
AO Scan sample passes, a 6-pack coming your way, Paige. Congratulations. All right, now let's turn the call over to an amazing speaker that we were so excited to have at our recent Day of Discovery, Dr. Mitch Abrams.
Love that.
Hello, hello. It is an absolute honor and privilege to be with you all today. I'm so excited to have a conversation with you around the future of medicine, because the future of medicine is the medicine of frequencies. And we're going to discuss exactly what Einstein meant in this insight. Now, right off the bat, I just want to say I have no conflict of interest. I'm not here to promote anything. My only vested interest is your health, your wellness, and your capacity to make informed decisions. I have to say, the goals for today, we're going to discuss energy. We're going to discuss a new perspective of energy as it pertains to health and wellness. We're going to activate your heart, which we're going to discuss throughout this talk. And we're going to help shift your global world view. And lastly, I want to provide very practical and shareable nuggets to help you inspire others. Now, these are very bold goals. I recognize that. But I have to say, we're in a very bold time. We are in a moment in history where there is a shift taking place. We're starting to understand the world in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And much of this perspective is literally shifting from a worldview, from Isaac Newton's perspective that says, hey, you're made up of a bunch of atoms, like marbles or bits. And your bits and my bits are separate. And in fact, this perspective says that your bits and the world that you're experiencing is separate. But the Nobel Prize in 2022 in physics was awarded to 3 gentlemen that experimentally proved that we are all part of this non-local, entangled universe. This basically means that every atom in your body contains information of every other atom in this universe. We are an extension of the whole. And I can say that this perspective, this quantum physics perspective, radically changes our understanding of what it means to be healthy. It's a radical paradigm shift in the way that we understand the mind-body relationship and how we can deliver health and wellness. Now, we're going to be discussing a lot about the heart as we explore energy and frequency, and I thought it would be appropriate to begin our conversation with a little story of my heart. I grew up, my heart started to beat in New Brunswick, east coast of Canada, and I grew up, asked a lot of questions, and I eventually made my way to medical school, became a physician, and interestingly, in my very first year of medical practice, I found out I required open heart surgery. And this was a rude awakening. As a physician turned patient, I really began to experience and appreciate our medical model from a completely different side. Now, granted, the physicians correctly diagnosed my problem and physically corrected my heart. But I have to say, there is something fundamentally missing within this journey of healing. And as I returned back to work shortly afterwards, I was then appointed the chief of our department. So very quickly, I got to experience our entire healthcare system from the bottom up and the top down. And I realized that not only is our entire system really outdated, but how we study, how we define health and wellness is completely narrow in scope. Again, something was fundamentally missing. And this realization really catapulted me in a completely new direction, on a journey of research and exploration, and I got very interested in India. In India, how they approached health and wellness, the whole person perspective, mind, body, spirit. And very quickly, I realized that there's an entire discipline of science that we were not exposed to in the West. And it fascinated me because when I was there, meeting with different, spiritual practitioners, spiritual communities, these swamis had such a profound understanding in science, particularly physics. And it bewildered me in the beginning, like, why in the world would this, spiritual master, the spiritual practitioner have any interest in physics and science? But then there was this light bulb moment. As Einstein said, everything is energy. Your thoughts, your emotions, these are forms of energy. And the more that we understand energy, the more that we can begin to understand how our thoughts and our emotions can be used for health and wellness. Now, as a radiologist, this really resonates. We do not use prescription pads. We don't use scalpel blades. We use technology like an MRI machine or a CAT scan to literally dissect the human body like a loaf of bread without a scalpel blade. And the only reason why that is possible is because we are all beings of light. Think about it. We're all made up of trillions of cells. Those cells are made of molecules. Molecules are made of atoms. And atoms are 99.9999999% space. High frequency vibration of energy. So much of my work now is helping people appreciate this fascinating intersection where we are today, where science and spirituality are now intersecting. It's weaved together. These are not two ends of the spectrum. When you take a step back far enough, you realize what we're talking about is one circle. So, to do this, I've created this lens, this diagram, that helps us understand where science and spirituality are now intersecting. And if you take a moment to really examine this image, what we're looking at are two diagrams superimposed on each other. Einstein is staring at this middle piece called the vector equilibrium. The vector equilibrium in this diagram represents all of our modern science and technology, our understanding of energy from our modern perspective. And the vector equilibrium, by the way, is related to the 1996 Nobel Prize in Chemistry because it represents perfectly balanced energy. Perfect energy. His Holiness the Dalai Lama, on the other hand, is staring at the background flower. It's a lotus flower. And I'm sure many of you recognize it because this is an image that's been around for thousands of years that always represented the science of consciousness, the science of connection. Can you all appreciate that when you superimpose the vector equilibrium on the lotus flower, how they flow into each other? They occupy the same space. The reason why that is because there's a very specific mathematic ratio, a frequency that these two images share. And once we tune into this frequency, we begin to understand our true nature, not only as individuals, but as a community. So, I would like everybody to take your hands, put them out, and then just imagine putting on this lens. Because we're now going to explore the world through this perspective. And make no mistake, what we're going to be talking about today is what we now understand as the gold standard in medicine. Medical sciences have been moving in the right direction, but they have not yet begun to appreciate how quantum physics plays into this biopsychosocial model of medicine. And just to be clear, the biopsychosocial model is really a fancy term to say mind, body, and spirit. That blue circle, social, really explains the importance of why we have to feel so connected as it pertains to our health and our wellness. So, let's begin the conversation with the fact that you are all beings of energy. You are all energetic beings. And let's break it down to the cellular level. Every single cell in your body has a small degree of potential energy, like a little battery. There's a differential of energy between the inside and the outside of that cell, and it's 0.07 volts. So, if we do the math, on average, we are 50 trillion human cells. Every cell, 0.07 volts. You do the math, we're about 3.5 trillion volts of potential energy. And to put this into context, a lightning bolt is around 300 million volts of energy. So we are vast systems of potential energy. And how we manage that energy directly impacts our health, our wellness, our ability to perform. And when you think about going to a doctor or a naturopath, everything that we use to assess an individual's state of health, be it an electrocardiogram, blood pressure, heart rate, respiratory rate, brain waves, these are all forms of energy. They're all forms of energy. And in fact, when you think about your thoughts are forms of energy. If you recall in 2014, in the World Cup, Mr. Pinto, who was paralyzed from the waist down, he used a brain-machine interface to control a robotic exoskeleton to kick the opening ceremony, to kick off the opening ceremony. Meaning that every thought that you experience is its own brainwave signature. We have a brainwave dictionary for every thought, every experience that can now be used to control robots and computers. And in fact, if you fast forward 10 years to 2024, some of you may have seen 60 Minutes where they showcased an MIT student who actually was Googling through his thoughts. We can plug our mind into the cloud, into the internet. And we have to begin to think of ourselves as technology. We are vast systems of technology. I mean, every second you have about 1 billion chemical reactions taking place within your body. Every second. This is a very complex energetic system that we each are. Now, what's interesting is that it turns out that the heart plays a critical role in not only how we manage our own energy, but how we function as a technology. Dr. Roland McCready is the lead researcher at HeartMath, which is an organization focusing on psychophysiology, the science of understanding how thoughts and emotion affect your physiology, your biochemistry. And what we've realized through research is that your emotions, which are forms of energy, are literally encoded in the rhythms of your heart. Let me just say this again. Your emotional state, what you are experiencing in any given moment, is information that is actually encoded within your heart rhythms. Here are two diagrams, two graphs. Imagine having Jake and Kai up on stage, and they're both wearing heart monitors, okay? Now imagine one of them is represented by the red graph. One of them is very anxious, perhaps nervous. You can notice how the heart rate variability is very irregular. And heart rate variability is actually the measurements of the interbeat intervals. From beat to beat, that time interval is constantly changing. And this is called the heart rate variability. And in the red graph, you can see a heart rate variability is extremely erratic, very irregular, and this is called incoherence. Now, the blue graph, on the other hand, this is called coherence. When you feel good, when you feel kindness, compassion, love, like you're in the flow of life, your heart rhythm becomes very nice and rhythmic, and this is called coherence. Now, to be very clear, these, Kai and Jake could have the exact same heart rate. It's not heart rate that we're talking about. We're talking about the rhythms in the heart rate variability, which is encoding our emotions. Okay? The reason why this is so important is because this information that's encoded within our heart rate variability is being sent up to the brain. It hits the thalamus, which is in the central part of the brain, and the thalamus is like a relay station which eventually sends that information to the rest of the brain. So I want you to think back in times where you were so stressed. Maybe it was for an exam or for a presentation, and the moment you get up to perform, you're so nervous that all of a sudden your mind goes blank. You're studying for an exam for weeks, and when the time comes to write the answers, you don't know what you know anymore. Think of times, however, on the flip side, when you just feel so amazing. Maybe you love sports. Maybe you love presentations, and you just are in the flow of life. The experiences between these two situations are greatly related to the rhythms, the signals of energy that is coming from the heart going to the brain. So imagine now having a very irregular rhythm of energy, chaotic, being sent from the heart to the brain. It inhibits our capacity to think. It inhibits our ability to perform. So the areas of the brain that's affected by the heart, literally, how we think, how we act, how we feel, how we perform, how we further self-regulate in moments of stress and angst. Now, when you are in a state of coherence, something magical happens. You see, your heart rhythms synchronizes with your brain waves. This, in physics, is called entrainment. These two rhythms can phase lock, and then they begin to feed into each other, so they become stronger, right? Increased in amplitude. And essentially now what happens is that your heart and your brain literally is now functioning like a single organ. And in that moment, your brain is functioning at an optimal level. Okay? It's optimized. And there have been extensive research looking at the effects of this state of coherence, what it does to an individual's state state of well-being. Here is a graph of a study that was done with patients with diabetes, a very high-risk group, very often afflicted by mental health. And you can see that within 6 months, pre and post, you can see significant improvement in mental health, in their mental health. Radical improvement. And in fact, in a separate study where they introduce these techniques to high school students, you can see how college prep scores increase by 73% by simply introducing simple techniques that allows us to optimize our internal energetic frequency, which in turn affects the way that we think, act, feel, how we perform. Now, it's not just the brain that is receiving the benefit of the heart. If you imagine, the heart is pumping energy through your entire body. The rhythms of the heart is literally sent to every cell in your body. So imagine we all get into a bus, we go to the symphony, we're there early, and all the musicians are now on stage and they're warming up with their instruments. Every musician is playing their little bit, but nobody's synchronized with each other. The conductor hasn't shown up yet. We in the audience would perceive that as noise, incoherent noise. The moment that the conductor shows up and synchronizes all of these musicians, now you have a beautiful piece of coherent music. The heart is the conductor. Every organ system literally is like a musician. And when we are in a state of coherence, our organs, our biorhythms, they all synchronize to create this beautiful, optimal, energetic frequency. Everyone following? This affects every system. Your cardiovascular system, your respiratory system, the cerebral spinal fluid pulsations around your brain and your spinal cord, even the electric potential in your skin, they're all now getting synchronized by the heart. If there are any musicians in the room, you know the drummer is the most important band member. The heart is the drummer. It gets everybody in beat, in flow with each other. And when you're in this optimal physiologic energetic state, it's as if you're activating your technology and you're energizing yourself. Because in very simple terms, we are either in one of two states. You're either losing energy or you're gaining energy. It's very simple. And as technology, we're essentially like a battery, and we have this beautiful, divine capacity to charge and energize ourselves. Now, I want to make this point. This is very important. What we're talking about, the state of coherence, is not the same as relaxation. I hear that a lot. Oh, I love to relax. I love to cook, and it helps me relax and unwind, which is wonderful. But this is not coherence. In this graph, you can see on the top left, in relaxation, you see the heart rate variability. When you do a power spectral analysis to see what's the frequency, what are the frequencies within that heart rate variability pattern, you can see on the top right that there are many frequencies and really nothing that's, of high amplitude. But when you compare it to the bottom left of feeling appreciation, which is one of these emotions that can cultivate coherence, you can see now that the frequency, there's a massive spike at 0.1 hertz. And when I say a spike, if you look at the units, we're talking 700 units as compared to 150 in the top, when you're just feeling relaxed. What this is telling us is that when you're in a state of coherence, you're actually cultivating a very specific energetic frequency of 0.1 hertz. And when you cultivate that 0.1 hertz, you are literally activating your technology. And what the studies have shown is that this is key, it's pivotal in how we modulate our genetic expression, how we create the proteins that basically give us life from our genes. And when you cultivate coherence, they can actually see how the DNA, which is typically, our genetic material, is typically very tightly wound up. But when you practice coherence, the DNA unwinds, which is necessary for the transcription, for the creation of the proteins from those genes. Now, just last year, August 2023, UC San Diego studied coherence, and they found there is an inverse correlation with the amount of time and experience of cultivating coherence with SARS-CoV infection. They literally found that the more that one individual practices and incorporates that into their lives, the greater degree of resistance to the SARS infection. And not only did they see that there's a correlation, they actually identified the very specific protein that is being created in that moment of coherence, serpine A5. And this is a protein that prevents the virus, the M spike protein on the virus, so that the virus can get access to the cells. So we are now getting to a point where we begin to identify the mechanisms of action of how this energetic frequency literally modulates our genetic material to create a healthy, thriving state of being. And in fact, a study of over 5,700 people found that those with the highest self-regulation abilities were 50 times more likely to be alive in 15 years compared to those who had the lowest self-regulation abilities. Think about this. This is not just a slim margin. This is a huge paradigm shift. Huge. 50 times more likely to be alive in 15 years without chronic disease. In fact, not one, but 3 separate 10-year studies, they all concluded that emotional stress was more predictive of death compared to cancer and cardiovascular disease combined. That is huge. Huge. When I went to med school, which wasn't that long ago, smoking was the biggest thing. Now we're realizing how important stress is and how it affects the body. And in fact, people who are unable to effectively manage their own stress, they're 40% higher. They have a 40% higher death rate compared to non-stressed individuals. And the great news, why I'm so excited, and I know that you're going to be all very excited, is that in a study of 1,200 people, those who are at the highest risk of poor health, once they begin to learn how to alter their unhealthy habits physically and mentally, they are 4 times more likely to be alive in 13 years compared to an equal-sized control group. So the mere capacity of informing someone, helping them cultivate these skills can drastically improve their health and well-being. Another piece of great news. The mind functions like a muscle. Dr. Sarah Lazar from Harvard showed that when you take people off the street, you teach them how to flex that mental muscle. If you practice 20 minutes a day, within 2 months, you will see structural changes to the brain. So imagine if we all started going to the gym. In 2 months from now, you notice how your muscles are looking leaner and stronger. The brain is no different. We can do an MRI today, and in 2 months, if you were to practice 20 minutes, in 2 months, I could show you with an MRI machine how your brain structurally changed. So the areas in the brain that's associated with stress, the fight or flight response, it shrinks. It's less sensitive. It's not as hyperactive. We're not going to respond to the external stress as like we used to. We have a higher degree of resilience, a capacity to lean in to challenging moments, challenging situations. And the frontal cortex, the more evolved parts of the brain, that area gets thicker. So if you think about it, these techniques help facilitate our own evolution. It expands our capacity to thrive, and it reduces parts of the brain that are less evolved, that holds us back, related to fear, angst.
I love Dr. Abrams. He is, and you know what? I spent a lot of time with him, several conversations, just talking in the backstage and even on calls before he came here. Just a really down-to-earth person who is so brilliant and can see beyond what his training limited his sight with.
It's so
right?
true.
He can see so much, and he is right aligned with us.
Oh, he is. And you know, we didn't really say on this call exactly who he is, but he is a highly regarded physician. He is an MD, a radiologist. He started Next Gen Health.
Yeah.
He is a brilliant man, like you said, but he's also so humble. I couldn't believe that when I was talking to him, just how, like you said, down to earth, but kind and humble he is.
Yeah.
But he believes in frequencies. And you know, not a lot of MDs really can see this other side.
Yeah. I think as more MDs like Dr. Abrams does promote this other part of wellness, right? Mm-hmm. That more will start to at least maybe open up their mind a little bit more. I do think that we're getting more and more traction in society with this, and we will get more and more over time.
I agree.
If you love that part, there's more to come from Dr. Abrams.
Yes.
We have more material that we're going to share with you soon. But I just hope you enjoyed his kind of start, dipping your toe into some of what's in his brain as he looks at his life experience and how that led him to this part of wellness, right?
But that, if you're new here, that's what we do at our Days of Discovery. And we are having another Day of Discovery coming up, our virtual Day of Discovery in March. And so we want to know from you, not just the new ones, from all of you, what topic would you like to see covered at our next virtual Day of Discovery?
Yeah. Comment on this call, not in the live chat, just after. Comment what is that subject, or even a couple of them, right? And list them, maybe prioritize them for us. You know, that would be helpful. And then what we'll give away is a ticket to the next Day of Discovery, the virtual Day of Discovery in March.
Yes.
If you've already bought the ticket, we'll give you your money back. How about that?
That's right. But next week we will draw 3, read all 3 of yours, and we will give you a free ticket to virtual Day of Discovery. Have a great week.
Join us for the leadership event.
What's next?
Oh,
That was one of the best parts
I love
of our Day of Discovery.
Dr. Abrams.
Let me start over.
Oh, gosh.
You start this one, you go.